Hey friend, welcome to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. I'm Gabby Flater, a faith-led wife, mom of 3, certified nutrition consultant, personal trainer, and passionate about changing lives. I know how frustrating it can be to navigate the health and wellness world. You want to be motivated to prioritize your well-being and wish you were more educated when it comes to cultivating a healthy home. Maybe you're a mom who's completely burnt out and needs a fresh perspective on life, or you're searching for a place to feel seen, heard, and encouraged in a godly manner. No matter if you're doing the dishes, getting your sweat on, or drinking reheated coffee while watching the kids play, there is always an opportunity for growth. If you are ready to finally take action about these desires and are ready to learn, grow, and transform your mind, then you are in the right place. It's time to establish deeper roots so you can enjoy a more fruitful and fulfilling harvest. Let's dig in. Hey guys, welcome back to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. My name is Gabby, and I'm so thankful that you are tuning in today, wherever you're at on your Monday or whatever day of the week you are listening to this. Today we are going to chat about just a little bit about motherhood and 4 things that I just came up with that I have been using and have found helpful in my motherhood journey, and hopefully could be helpful for you, helpful tips for you to include in your day-to-day motherhood journey, whatever that looks like for you. But before we do that, I want to kick things off with a review. As always, if you have not rated and reviewed this show, please take a moment to pause and go over to my show, scroll down, and click leave review. Whatever you feel this show deserves for that rating and review, it means so much to me. All your feedback just keeps me going and helps me know where to improve and what to keep sharing, because I love to know what you guys want to hear more about. So today, this one comes from Claire Andres. It says, "Can't wait to hear more episodes. Gabby is so knowledgeable in all things health, fitness, gardening, and sourdough. I'm excited for more episodes to drop so we all get a chance to learn." Oh, thanks so much, Claire. Yes, I have just been so immersed in all of those topics and areas. Definitely still always learning and growing, but willing to bring you along for the journey as I have gained and I'm still learning along the way the knowledge in all of those areas. So thank you so much. And let's go right into today in our topic with motherhood. So whether you're a mom of little kids, maybe you have some little, some older, all your kids are older. Mom life, once you have a child, you're a mom forever, right? Isn't that just crazy? That one choice and you're like mom forever. So, seasons of motherhood look different. The demands, the time, the attention, it all looks different and what your kids need from you. And I'm not saying having older children is easier, but we do know that the life with little people, like ages 5, 6, and under, is really like a lot. I think emotionally, because they're just little humans. They don't have the brain capacity as older children, as adults, and just communicating with them, teaching them, just all the things. And they're trying to figure out their boundaries and how to be their own human and fit their personality in, and, just figuring life out. And it can be really hard, especially when you have multiple littles under that, age, and it can be really taxing. And I get that. And it's also just such a joy too, to be able to be, the mom who gets to watch your kids make those little connections and learn and grow and explore and be curious and ask all the questions. And, there's so much that comes wrapped up in that motherhood of littles time. No, I'm not in the season of kids that are older right now. I have a 5-year-old, and he's definitely, more independent. I can see us getting out of, the thick of things with him. But we're going to enter into new phases and new conversations and new things as he starts to see the world in a different way and kind of lose a little bit of that like kidness to him. And, I don't know what that's like. I don't have older children quite yet. But I kind of wanted to touch on, this can apply to both, whether you have the ages 6 and under or 6 and above. These are all things that I tend to make sure that I implement so that I can show up as a mom who has as much energy as she can. I mean, this is just what happens. You have children, and I feel like you just never sleep anymore. You just don't have the same kind of sleep that you had back in your, high school, college days, whatever sleep looked like for you. I feel like it's just all a blur once you have children. You're like, what is sleep? What day is it? So, just prioritizing different things to help you in your motherhood journey. And one of the things, kind of like I just mentioned, was prioritizing sleep is one of those things that can really help you get ahead of the game. Now, I understand that it's not possible to have, the full 8 hour, 8-9 hours like they recommend on average for a person to have. But just really making sure that you're winding down at night and that you're giving yourself the ability to get a good night's rest. Now, if you're seasoned with babies and newborns, I get it. So just prioritizing the sleep of, what, I'm going to go back to bed after an early morning nursing session if I can, like if the baby goes back to sleep. Not forcing yourself to get out of bed if you don't have to. Sometimes you need that extra rest. And sometimes your little people, aside from the baby, are demanding in the morning and you need to get up. So just really, maybe it just means there's a night where you just need to hit the hay at 8 p.m., get your kids to bed and get to bed soon after that when they are all settled, so that when you are awoken early in the morning or in the wee hours of the night, you had at least been in bed for a while. And I understand prioritizing sleep as a mom seems like, what, how? Because I definitely don't have it figured out. But sleep is when your body does all of its detoxing. It's when your body repairs itself. It honestly is one of the most underutilized forms of good health that people don't realize. And I'm not saying I'm not perfect at it. I definitely could use more sleep in my life and prioritize that a little bit more. And that's why I always come back to it when I'm like, why do I feel burnt out? Why am I feeling edgy? Why am I feeling upset? Why am I feeling extra sore all the time? Why am I feeling just lethargic and all these things? Oh, it's because I'm not setting myself up for success at nighttime, for bedtime, and getting to bed, and making sure that I'm doing a few things at nighttime where I like drink some tea or have my cocktail of things that'll help me fall asleep better. I take my magnesium almost every night, but not having extra food late or a glass of wine. Sometimes that helps you fall asleep, but just not needing all of that stuff all the time and being off your screen for a little while, that just helps your body wind down. So just prioritizing a little more sleep. Maybe it doesn't happen every day of the week, which it's not going to, but maybe there's 2 or 3 days out of the week where you really nail it down and you just feel like on top of the world. So I hope that there are ways that you can find the best way for you to get that extra sleep in. And another thing is, I found that I'm a morning person, and I love early mornings, and I understand that not everybody is that way. I'm definitely, when you're in the season of newborn and baby, that's really hard to come by. But when there is the right time, getting up before your kids, when you can. I have found that I don't do well when I wake up with my children at the same time, with their needs, and they're all needs that they do need, but I have a really hard time being immersed without having fully woken up myself and given myself and my brain and my body the opportunity to like take in the new day, think about what I want to accomplish, just have a moment of just silence with a hot cup of coffee or drink of choice, or moving my body, before my kids wake up, which is generally what I do, praying or reading a book or journaling or reading your Bible, whatever it is for you, getting up, even if it's 10 minutes. Now, there have been mornings where like I get up and I'm like, I hear the door upstairs creak open. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why on the morning that I actually did get up are you getting up? So it happens, but don't take it as a wash. There are some mornings where it just doesn't happen, and there are a lot of mornings when it does. And I'm grateful for both. And motherhood is just kind of one of those things where you just got to roll with the punches. But I've just found that my days start off so much better when I can set aside that time in the morning for me before my little people wake up. So sleep, getting up before your kids, kind of find, alternating those, finding what works for you. But those two things for sure are something that I make sure I focus on in this motherhood of littles season. Or, when your kids are older, it's just easier to get up before your kids. I get it. And not everybody is a morning person, and I get that too. So another thing that I wanted to share is just having an outlet to pursue a passion or an interest of yours. Now, being a mom is a full-time job, and sometimes we can lose ourselves in that motherhood season, and when we're in the thick of it, we are doing a lot of the mundane things, having the little people conversations, and we kind of morph into this new person, and it's not bad. It's what comes with that gift. And sometimes we forget, though, who we are outside of motherhood. Motherhood is one part of you, and maybe you really loved doing art, or maybe you really enjoyed exercise, or whatever it might be for you, like a passion or a hobby or an interest. Finding a way to have that outlet. So that might just mean it might look like getting resourceful with someone to either help watch your kids so that you could have an hour to go do something that lights you up. Maybe it's getting your kids involved with you so that you can start to dabble with it a little bit more, but it's not going to look perfect. It's not going to be exactly, solo. You might have to, embrace it with having the kids with you. Or, maybe it's something that you start to do in the pockets of your day when you have, napping children, or, someone at school, or busy with a task, and you can educate yourself in an area that you're really passionate about. Maybe there's, you love to read books and you just aren't, you used to read them all the time, or whatever it was, like getting back to a little bit of who you are outside of that motherhood piece that, you ended up taking that role on. Like I said, it's not wrong to be fully immersed in motherhood. But I find that when you don't have an outlet outside of that, sometimes we wonder, why are we so edgy or moody or whatever? Like, we all have different desires and passions, and it all looks different. And it's also a beautiful thing for your kids to see you pursuing something outside of them and wiping butts and making meals and all of that. They see you showing up there, but when they see a mom showing up for something that she loves, you can teach them about it, and they can watch you learn, and maybe it's something that you help others with, and they can watch you serve others with that passion or interest, or watch you grow yourself and pursue things. So, just don't play yourself or don't cut yourself short. Don't Don't play small when it comes to something that you think you have to wait 5-10 years to do. It doesn't have to be something that takes so much of your time away from your calling as a mom. It doesn't have to look like that at all. And like for me right now, recording podcasts usually happens when my boys are at a play date. I do mom swaps with a neighbor and I get a break and it works out wonderful. And I can have that time to pursue some things that, really focused without kids around, like pursue those passions. And there are times when I have to do it when they're around. And so just, know that if you have desires and passions and interests, like go for them. Figure out what it looks like. There's really no right balance. There's no perfect way to do it. It's just starting it and watching yourself feel lighter and like, wow, I feel a little bit more like me and not like so stuck in that mom role that can sometimes be so overbearing and heavy at times. Again, it's a beautiful job and it comes with so many wonderful rewards, but it also comes with a lot of hard moments, and we have to accept that and realize that and look at it. How can we combat that? Maybe it's just really stepping into an area that you haven't stepped into in a long time that lights you up, that brings you passion. So, just pray about and ask God what it is, and to show you what is something that you can fill some of your time with, that would fill your soul up, that would bring you more energy, that would get you a little more excited to get out of bed in the morning. Finding those things. We're all different and it looks different for everybody. Having an outlet to pursue a passion or interest, prioritizing sleep or getting up before your kids when you can. And then another point I have is having just a small tribe to confide in for support in those hard times and moments. Having your circle of people, and maybe it's even just your mom. If your mom's your BFF, that's awesome. Whoever it might be, maybe there's just someone in your life or a couple ladies that you can confide in and ask for support, encouragement, wisdom, prayer in those hard moments. I had a moment recently, and I felt when I was texting back and forth with a friend, and I just felt like she was a super safe place to all of a sudden just process a huge load that I had, and I just shared it, and she was very grateful that I did. She said, "I'm glad that you felt that I was a safe place." And so that just reminded me that us moms need that. We need, outside of the social media world, you can't glom onto that. It's not going to fill, it's not going to tell you how to do it all. Like, there's just so much, it's overwhelming. You just need a few people, real human beings that you know and can see and can talk to or message, and that will respond to you, that you can rely on to be there for you and help you, and that you can actually be real and say the hard things that are going on in your brain, because sometimes they're really real. Being very aware of your mental state, like it's so helpful as a mom, because we can dig ourselves deep into a very dark mental place. And so just having those people that you can rely on, I just encourage you to really think about who those could be, or start fostering some relationships with some moms. And when you know. I don't really know how to help you, necessarily find those people. It's more of the friendships that foster over time, and you get a vibe from those people and the conversations that you do have. And then you realize that you're not the only one struggling with something. And then that maybe opens the door for you to be like, I wonder if they struggle with this, or maybe they're not going to think, I'm bad if I share this with them, or whatever. Like, there are people out there that will listen, and I just wanted to encourage you just to have that support in your motherhood journey, so you don't feel that you have to go it alone, because it can be lonely at times. It can be lonely. And I'm just encouraging you in that. And then another thing is, because I'm all about, and this podcast is all about health, wellness, optimizing all of that, really to be the best in, your day-to-day motherhood demands is being able to nourish your body with good nutrient-dense foods. And so if you're not priming yourself with optimal foods, if you're not fueling your body for your load for the day and every day, no wonder you're having a hard time. You're feeling sluggish, you're feeling moody, you're feeling anxious, all of the things. You're sick again and you can't keep up with your kids. Assess what your eating habits look like. Assess what nutrients you're taking in. And understand that is something that is definitely playing a role. And you want to be the best mom every day. You are the best mom already for your children. But when you're feeling all of those other symptoms, it's hard to feel like you're being the best mom and showing up well, because sometimes we put on the happy face, but we're really hurting and struggling underneath. And I just encourage you to look at your role as a mom. I mean, this is like a marathon. Motherhood is no sprint, guys, okay? It is a marathon, and it is worth fueling your mind and your body correctly to show up for each day. And that includes that sleep. I mean, that is part of how are you going to run a marathon if you don't sleep like often? Like, your body's just going to be it's always trying to play catch up. So yes, we're never going to have the perfect sleep. No, we're never going to eat perfectly every single day, every moment, every meal. But we can do our darn best to implement these things and feel a lot better. And when you know the choices that you can be making, just knowing that when you feel like, why am I feeling this way? Oh, it's probably because I haven't been getting the best sleep. Oh, it's probably because I've eaten out 4 times this week. Or even, like your kids' behaviors, like, oh, you know what? They've eaten out 4 times this week. And that's probably really not helping them either. So just knowing how much food and the things that we drink and the things that we put in our body are affecting you as a mom, and you want to set yourself up for success. So whatever that looks like for you, wherever you're at, implementing more nutrient-dense foods. That just means implementing foods that are going to put your body in the best position to have more energy, to absorb more of the to absorb more vitamins and minerals, to recover better, to have less mood swings, to reduce that inflammation so that you aren't always in pain, achy joints. So it's really being mindful, like we've talked about on other podcasts, of the sugar intake, being mindful of colors and dyes in your food and natural flavors and processed foods. It's really getting back to just the basics of making a salad, having really good quality proteins, and fats that are they're not the enemy. They're good for you. They're good for brain health and for stabilizing blood sugars. And when your blood sugars are all crazy up and down like a roller coaster, as a mom, like I can relate with just the anxiousness of like you feel that hyperness inside and your kids are going crazy and you just feel like you're out of control. You need to find ways that you can level that off with, making sure that you're not just feeding the fire with more sugar, more caffeine, more processed foods. We eat our emotions. We're humans, and that's just tends to be what we do. And we have to learn how to either eat your emotions the right way or find a different outlet. And so sometimes that also means just deep breaths. You need to just like remove yourself from the situation, take some deep breaths, calm yourself down, and re-enter that situation. Get outside, go on a walk, call someone, drink some water. Like there are other ways to combat instead of grabbing the bag of chips or the pint of ice cream or whatever it is for you. There are moments that we have that, and I get it. And I just want to encourage you that you need to be on top of your nutrition as a mom. It is vital. And it's something that is something that your kids are watching. Excuse me. It's something that your kids are watching too. And so they want to see a mom who is taking care of herself. And it gets them to want to value what they put in their body as well. And so you're passing down that habit to the next generation so that they can have that and implement that into their life and into the next generation that they bring into the world. So just think about what you do now. Your little people are watching, or your big people, whatever it is, whoever, whatever age. And so just know that food is fuel, and you need to use it for the purpose of fueling your marathon as a mom. And I'm sure there are days when you've got it all. It's great. You've got it all figured out. You did great. You got your, green smoothie in, and, you did your salad, and you had your dark chocolate, and you had your, chicken and sweet potato and broccoli or whatever for dinner, and you nailed it. And then the next day just feels like really heavy with the needs of the kids, or something happened and you just completely derail. It's okay. You don't have to feel like a failure. You pick up the next day, or you pick up in the next moment or the next meal, or in that moment you choose something that is going to make you feel like you are back in control of that situation of, just making maybe a drink that's more of like a cocktail of like either electrolytes, or it's got some calming, remedies in it, like a tea, or whatever it is for you, or a smoothie, or green juice, or juice something. Like, you just come back to something that's going to make you feel like, okay, I've got this. I don't need to derail the day, but it's not going clearly how I want it to, but I'm going to do one thing that's going to make me feel like I've got this. Even if the rest of the day kind of goes not as planned. So, I want to try and provide as many practical tips and advice and things from my own experiences and things that I've tried to do, and just to be relatable. Like, I don't have it all figured out. I don't have the right or wrong, approaches, or, it just looks different for everyone in the season that you're in, and all of our different personalities. But these are things that you can prioritize to really make your motherhood journey more pleasant, enjoyable, and just make it. This is a passion. Being a mom can be your passion, and how are you going to optimize it and show up and be the best version of you every day, and your calling as a mom, because it's a beautiful one. And like I said, you are the perfect mom for your child, and they watch you. They watch us all the time, even while we're going to the bathroom. We just never get a moment, do we? So I hope that this encouraged you, and know that there are so many other things that you can implement. But if I could give you 4 things, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. This is what I felt was on my heart to share with you. And I will be sure to kind of like bullet point this in the show notes so that you can come and, screenshot it, or remember, you could write it down so you can refer back to that and write it down somewhere, just to remind you of these simple things. And just focus on one thing. You don't have to do it all. That's the other thing. You don't have to do it all. Just focus on one thing at a time and get good at that one thing. You don't have to be like, okay, now I got to prioritize sleep, and now I got to start eating really good, and I got to make new friends that I'm going to be able to confide in and be vulnerable with. And then I have to pursue a passion or an interest. Okay, all right. No, how do I remember how to do this? I need to find, no. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by the list. The list is to give you some ideas, some promptings for you to just pick one and start to thrive a little bit more in your motherhood season. So, with that being said, please let me know your takeaways. I am so grateful that you were here, and just love being able to be in this space, talking with you guys and sharing real life experiences and being in, this motherhood season with you. So would love to hear what you guys took away. Maybe you started to implement something, or maybe there's something else that you have found super helpful in your motherhood journey. I would love to hear from you. You can drop me an email, you can drop me a message over on Instagram or on Facebook, wherever you have me. Would love to hear back from you. But I hope that you have an amazing week. Be blessed and go rock that mom life.